We are back. It is Real Talk with Chris Rubaie and my man
Julian Chavez.
Tell him what's up. We are back. It is our 5th podcast.
It is?
Yes, 5th episode.
They've been going by quickly.
I know, man. It's all catching up. Lots of good news out there.
We're here on a casual Saturday.
Great casual. I'm not as casual as last week in my my white tracksuit. If you were able to catch that on our last YouTube video. It was good. I was all decked out, but
you should have seen him running around Brickle like that.
I'm sweating, bro. Nah, yeah, it's an interesting week in real estate, I'd say.
It was an interesting week in general.
Yeah, lots of turmoil right now with the feds right now. The Federal Reserve just released that they had their quarterly meeting, right? So
rates they're planning to keep rates the same right now, but that really lowers them a little bit because that's just how the market works.
Right, so there was no increase in rates. The rates remained, right? So right now you can find them for, I've heard as low as under 4%, but they say on the television for the 4.25%, right?
Yeah, but it just depends the type of client you are, credit score,
right?
Debt to income ratio.
There's a lot of different factors, and we talked about it before.
Even the type of property you're buying is a factor.
Right, and how much income that property generates, and really your financial character as a person. Your credit score is very important.
The bank fees.
Yeah. So it's all part of the regulatory scheme. Also, you know what I found out is recourse, right? So if you can guarantee. Personal guarantee your assets versus not personal guaranteeing your assets. There's a big difference on the loan to value ratio that they can give you. They can lend you more money if you guarantee recourse towards your assets. If not, obviously they can't loan you as much. But that has a big.
If you're doing like a business loan and then you personally guarantee it, then that's where you get into some type of trouble, you know what I mean? Like if the business defaults or something.
Right, hopefully you're not doing any shady business or anything like that. Hopefully.
What if the business just takes a turn for the worse, you know?
True.
Personally guaranteeing is a little tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like with me, I always got to prove a business model before I really bring it to scale. So I think a lot of people do that, but I think it's important to stand behind your product and believe in your brand. So
definitely, but you always have to have like an exit plan just in case.
Right, it's all about the exit strategy, baby.
You got to get in at a good price and figure out how you're gonna get out just in case, man.
Yeah, I take that back. It's not about the exit; it's all about the buy.
Yeah.
Right? If there's anything
If
there's anything my dad has told me in life, it's all about the buy.
Yeah, man. It's all about the buy. I was actually trading stocks for a little bit a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And the guy that was kind of mentoring me, he was like, you gotta get in at a good price. He was day trading, by the way.
Right.
And you have to have your A plan, which is the price that you want to sell at, and then your trap to get out just in case.
Right.
In case things take a turn for the worse.
Exactly.
Because I thought that a stock was going to do very well within an hour or so. Ended up losing about 50% of its value, and I didn't have an exit plan. I was just like, I pray this thing goes up.
Yeah, stocks are interesting. We spoke a lot in class about the buy versus rent model,
right,
which is what we kind of want to lead into. Me and Julian have a lot to talk about on this topic. We were discussing it briefly.
We kind of wanted to show you guys what we think about this.
So these past couple of weeks I've been working on a project and it includes basically showing a model of buying versus renting, right? So making a pro forma statement and finding which is the cheapest cost of capital, I guess you say, or your best return on your money over 4 to 5 years, buying versus renting. So Julian's all for buying. I am for buying too, right? But in this day and age, it makes a lot more sense to be renting. I've seen multiple charts, huge inclines in
Well, give us some numbers.
Okay, so the numbers that we came up with, and I'm about to pull them up right now, is you know, I think these numbers are a little bit skewed. This might work in like a practical setting, but as for South Florida, and a lot of people will tell you this, South Florida's real estate economy is just different. It's just, it's different. So,
well, you gotta play where you work, like where you work.
Right. But I mean, you know, I'm also from St. Louis, so I have that in the back of my mind too. I think this model might be able to work there as well. So,
that's true.
What the model that we came up with here is, if you were to purchase a property at $450,000, right, 20% down payment at an interest rate of 4%, including closing costs, loan maturity 30 years, selling expenses around 6.5%, inflation expectancy around 2%. We see that over the course of 5 years, including your sale price at a growth of 2.5%, so you're beating inflation by about 0.5%, you'll see your total cash at the time you sold after 5 years investing or buying your property at 450 grand, you'll come out with $150,000. Now, the rent option that we have here, now the buy versus rent model, I think it also depends on your discipline as an investor. If you, I'm not gonna lie, if you're a little bit more, you know, relaxed with your investment strategy, a lot of people just prefer to buy because it's easier. You just throw the money into a house, you know, it will appreciate at this number. It's just easier in the back of your head. You don't have to think about, okay, I have to go log onto this website and look at this for a few hours. It's in the real estate and you watch it grow. So the option 2 that we have for renting, if you were to invest that down payment, like we said, at 20%, which is $90,000 at 450 grand, if you were to invest that $90,000 at 8 to 10% into the stock market or securities, which, mind you, I think, yeah, I just saw you roll your eyes. I agree with you, you know.
Like,
planning a stock to return 8 to 10% is I don't know.
You can never guarantee it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no stock in the world
especially
ever.
With the cycles that the economy has been going through.
It's been up and down like crazy.
Yeah. Did you look at, oh my gosh, on Friday, yeah.
Yeah, it was
really
down 450 points.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I thought I was generating like a 15% return in the stock market. 3 days later, I was down 5 grand.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, with the model that we've created here, if you were to invest that at 8 to 10%, that down payment of 90 grand, at the cash at the time it's sold, you will end up with $158,000, which is $8,000 more in your pocket compared to buying. Now, Julian over here does not agree with my
I'm going to tell you why.
Go for it.
All right. There's always different situations
right.
that renting could be better than buying. But in this case, I'm for buying, comparing a $450,000 house to renting, because I have this pulled up on a loan calculator. 450 grand at 4% interest, including homeowners insurance and taxes, put you at $2,200 a month.
Right.
For you to rent a house for 450 grand in Miami, at least, it'll cost you somewhere closer to 4 grand.
Right.
So you're wasting money actually every month, and you're just
right.
giving it away, and you never get anything back in return. And it's very, very hard to say that you could invest your money elsewhere and get an 8% return.
Okay, I feel you on that. And this is what I left out, and I apologize because people are probably scratching their heads saying, how do you get the rent? So the rent that I've calculated on here is at $2,500 a month. If you compare that, that's a pretty low rent for a $450,000 house. But I think in other cities and states,
it might work for somewhere that's not
right. Miami, I would probably say it's over 4 grand, like you said.
Right.
If I were to just put that in really quick. Let's see here. Now, there is a lot of different factors that people use for buying. Like you said, it's really a preference on what you like to partake in. Now there's a huge advantage over $100,000 if you were to rent at $4,000.
Right.
It would make obvious sense to buy a house.
Exactly.
You would put over $100,000 into your pocket.
Right.
Now, in other cities where, you know, Miami is one of the most unaffordable cities to live in. Absolutely, it's a proven fact. I have a article here that says Miami is the most inelastic city for land options, meaning it is the hardest city to get land in all the country. Beating LA, beating San Francisco, every city, because it's highly unaffordable and there's just not that much land. And we're talking about Miami as a core, right? We're not talking about, you know, Miami core involves, you have downtown, you have, you know, a little bit out west, a little bit down south. It doesn't really relate to, you know, up north.
You're talking about the city of Miami rather than than like Miami-Dade County.
Right.
In general.
Exactly.
Miami-Dade County goes all the way down to freaking Homestead.
Exactly. So that's a big difference, you know.
It's crazy. Even their prices are way more expensive too.
Right. Now let's talk about factors why people would buy versus rent, right? So I was talking about this the other day. So you have family, right? That's a big one. You know, when you're first starting out, you might start off with a smaller home and then, you know, kind of adapt and, you know, have to build or add, you know, structure.
It's a nice thing though to do that.
Right.
New family to
build a new family, absolutely. But that is one of the factors, right? So space, right? Jobs is a huge factor. People move all the time for jobs. You know, you could think that you're living in a home for 15 years and then, you know, the next year you got to move somewhere else.
So with that case, it would be better to rent because you don't have to go through those transactions.
More flexibility, of course. Yeah. So there was another factor that I was just going to speak about, but what was it? Oh, the average home, right? So, you know, the American dream is, you know, to buy a home. Absolutely, of course, and it still is. Now, if we're talking 50 years ago, people were living in their homes for over 15 years on average. Now,
the number is down to 7.
Yeah, 7 years on average. So
that's a pretty fun fact, though.
Yeah, it is. You know, we look at it, and if you really think about it, 7 years is a good amount of time, right? But it definitely has skewed a lot if you look at it, right? You know. So it's interesting that a lot of people take different strategies, buy versus rent.
Right. I mean, some other reasons that it might be good to buy is every month you're throwing money into an asset, something that you're gonna get back. I know you put a specific amount for like appreciation in there, but it just depends where you're gonna buy.
True.
Like if you would have bought here, if you would have bought a piece of land in Brickell 30 years ago, it would have appreciated a lot more than 2%.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. You're totally right.
And then some other things, you could use that house like a bank. In case of emergency, you take a loan out against the house. You can't do that when you rent.
Right.
You take credit lines. I mean, things happen. Even if you're a great financial planner, things just happen. Like someone in your family needs money, someone's sick. Right. Take a loan out against your house. I mean, that's a huge factor, I think. I mean, no one else is going to want to give it to you when they know your situation unless you have an asset that they could hold you against for. Yeah.
You know, buying real estate, and I said this last podcast, was, you know, start buying now, of course. Now, of course, I look at it from a different perspective as income, but if you look at it actually physically using it yourself, like living in the home, right? This model does not calculate for income producing properties. It does not, you know, we use tax deductions if you were to live in a home, not the tax deductions if you were to purchase an income property, deducting, you know, mortgage expenses or taxes, insurance, stuff of that nature. So
alright, so I have a question for you though.
What's up?
What do you think is a better investment? To invest somewhere in the stock market or invest in the real estate market?
Real estate, I've said that from day one. I think the stock market's just too crazy, man.
Yeah, it's very crazy. Even if you're
too many factors
in like highly unvolatile stocks.
Right.
Stuff just happens. I mean, the Dow Jones went down 450 points yesterday, even though the Fed just announced they're not going to raise interest rates.
Right.
Which we're not expecting that.
Right.
And when the Dow Jones goes down 450 points, even if you don't have a volatile stock or stocks in your portfolios, they're still going to go down.
Right.
No matter what.
Yeah, you know, I just think even with real estate, there's a lot of moving parts, and I think there's almost too many moving parts in real estate. But when we talk about stocks, it's too many things going on.
Way too many things.
You got CEOs saying
too
stuff.
Many regulations.
You got regulatory agencies saying stuff. You got
social media's involved in it.
Social media.
Like crazy.
Elon Musk says something. The stock goes up. Stock goes down.
Throws a car in space like it's nothing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I've never really.
Then we got Zuck sitting behind the laptop.
Yeah.
approving ads.
Man, that was frustrating for us. But no, yeah. So. All in all, we think buying versus renting, it really just depends on what's your investment strategy, what kind of factors do you want to play in for yourself.
There's different situations in which it could be better to rent.
Right.
Or it could be better to buy. If you know that, or if there's a possibility that you can be jumping around year to year to year, then it's obviously better to rent.
Right.
Get in and out of it, because there is transaction costs with real estate. You just don't get in and out.
Yeah.
And there is also some transaction costs with renting, but it's not the same.
Right, exactly. So that's what we have to say about the buy versus rent model. Right now, we kind of want to lead into opportunity zones. We kind of talked a little bit about those a few podcasts ago, but we got a couple more questions about them, kind of our take on them and what we think.
So what do you
want to start out?
You can go ahead and start out.
So with opportunity zones, we're seeing a bunch of investors start pouring money into these funds and trusts to try and promote affordable housing for kind of evolving cities, area codes, right? So kind of a little bit more slower economies, trying to vamp those up by increasing real estate investment in those areas, right?
Okay.
So there's a lot of people that do it, a lot of smart people that do it, but my take on it, and I'm gonna have to side with a very skilled investor that I look up to. His name is Glenn Refrano. He is the CEO of Very. He controls $14 billion in real estate assets, focuses mainly on single family tenant houses.
Really?
And yeah, so I don't know how many he has. It's gotta be thousands, but
single family homes?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So he says if you really focus on the tax benefits of any kind of business proposition, you won't really reap the full benefits that it was made for, right? So, with opportunity zones, we said before that most of these people invest money after, it's over like 10 years or it's like 10 years or something that they said. And
yeah, it was a good amount of time.
It was a good amount of time.
It's not a quick flip.
Yeah, it's not a quick flip. So you got to throw that money in there. And by the way, this is vacant land. So this is it's not like it's making any money for you. You still got to pay taxes on it. But mind you, these are in, a little bit.
Like what kind of areas are you talking about? We're talking about Little Haiti type of area?
We're talking about places that need development. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So kind of a very, very different kind of demographic. It needs revamping. So what Glenn really emphasizes, if you're focusing on saving money on taxes, you're kind of going to miss out on the whole opportunity of making money, right?
Right. People are too focused in.
Right. So let me go back. I forgot to say this. So the opportunity zones, when you invest money into these land plots for a certain amount of time, and you develop on them, you don't have to pay capital gains tax. There's a bunch of tax benefits for it. But like I said, if you really focus on saving money in this kind of scenario, I think that you'll miss out on the greater part.
Right. It's not just about evading taxes.
Right.
It's about making money.
And by the way, this is legally, this is the government saying,
right.
Hey, we want you guys to invest into these, for the most part, low-income neighborhoods that need to see growth over the years. these aren't like places that are like coming up and like prices are rising or anything like that. This is like places where it's just like, you know, there's not a lot going on. So I think it's really interesting, you know, how they do it. But personally for me, I think, you know, I wouldn't invest into opportunity zones, but I think it could be, you know, for the institutional investor with, you know, plenty of backing from the bank, and you know the banks love this. Who was I reading? The owner of the Wynn Hotel in Las Vegas, he's currently investing in opportunity zones. So there is people that do invest, and it is a strategy for them. But personally, for me, I think you kind of miss out on the bigger picture, which is you know,
making more money.
Yeah, you know, and it's definitely a different way to approach. You know,
I think it's a good idea, but the point is always to make money. But I think it is a good idea in that we actually definitely need more affordable housing. There's just different ways to go about it than being locked into an opportunity zone.
Right, and there are so many different puzzles, and I was listening in about a bunch of different strategies for affordable housing this past week, and you know, there's a lot of government intervention that's happening right now that's supporting the affordable housing movement.
Right, because look at all the developers, all they want to build is higher end.
I mean, yeah, that's where money is made, but I think there's also money to be made in affordable housing.
Definitely, it's just not millions of dollars at a time, it's more residual income, I think.
Right.
Or maybe
more
not.
Of a passive strategy, I guess. But I totally agree with what you're saying. You know, I think there's a lot of different pieces that go into affordable housing, one being opportunity zones. But in hindsight, I think it's just kind of a different kind of strategy that I wouldn't want to invest in.
Right.
Would you?
If the numbers are right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
But the thing is, what we were saying is, like, don't get into the investment just because of the tax benefits.
Right.
If the numbers make sense, the numbers make sense.
Exactly, it's an add-on, right? So let's say, okay, yeah, I want to park this money for 10 years and actually want to see this neighborhood grow. Right. You know, this is my hometown. I want to build
like vision
stuff.
for it too.
Absolutely, man. Buy back the block. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do what you want to do what you want to help out or create. If you want a vision to actually create something that is affordable and you can see that town flourish, then absolutely by all means go for it. But for these, you know, institutional investors that are just looking to kind of just not really grow with the community, but just kind of make money, I just think they're kind of skipping out on it. You know, I mean, you know, obviously we'll see over time, but
and they're even getting rid of some like lower income neighborhoods. You know what I mean? They're trying to like gentrify them, make them higher income. Like I was showing a property to a client this week. It's right outside of Coconut Grove, basically, and the developer the investor bought the whole 2 blocks, like ones facing each other.
Right.
They were before all duplexes and triplexes. You know, lower income people live there, and now he's trying to knock them all down.
Right.
And he's making these townhouses 2,600 square feet each, but they're brand new.
Yeah, you sent me a picture. They're beautiful.
They're for rent for $6 grand a month, asking $800 grand for sale. So he's actually getting rid of affordable housing.
Right.
Because that before there was affordable housing. He bought that piece of lot for $300 grand.
The Grove is a total different caliber. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just kind of.
It's like right outside the Grove.
Yeah.
He's just trying to extend the Grove.
Right. And you know, I met the guy behind the Arbor project over there in Coconut Grove, and that's really plotted for the $800 to $2 million range.
Right.
So there's people that are still, you know, pinpointing that upper echelon market, but I think there just still needs to be a little bit more affordable housing.
Honestly, the demand is for more affordable.
Especially down here. Because like we were just saying, this is the most, well, it's not the most, but one of the most unaffordable cities out there.
Why do they keep making super ultra luxury things?
Well,
like, yeah, it's nice to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
yeah,
but come on, man.
That's what's
everything's coming up.
Here.
I mean, even if you drive through Collins, if you drive through Brickell, if you drive anywhere, everything's just going up. Like, I want to bring clients to you guys, but I don't even think there's enough citizens in Florida. That even make that much money.
Right, and you know, there's a lot of money that circulates through South Florida, but
definitely a lot of money.
There obviously there's going to be pockets where there's money going. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I mean, I was reading something, and they were asking why the home sales slowed down a little bit, and it was because baby boomers, they're kind of settling down, retiring, so they don't want to really be buying and selling anymore. They're just kind of staying in their houses. So millennials are the ones supposed to be picking up the buying and selling.
That's interesting.
But the problem is that millennials lead all other generations in debt because of student loans.
Right, yeah.
Not debt, most unpaid debt.
Okay. Yeah, that's crazy.
Because unpaid debt is
worse.
Worse, and these people are 3 years late on their student loans. So that's what's going on with them. So those people, millennials, need more affordable housing.
Right. And you know, there's projects going up, but there's a lot more projects that are focused for that high caliber. So.
And yeah, there's some millennials making money, but most millennials are going to need more affordable housing.
Yeah, I agree. You know, a lot of debt out there. So.
Yeah, because of the student loans, the colleges, and, you know.
Yeah, it's tough. But there's a big area right now. It's seeing a couple of different places going on. Let's talk about Edgewater really quick. There was an apartment complex that went out. It was like a 10-unit building, multifamily.
Is it higher end?
I don't think it was higher end, but it was directly on the water. Like you could throw your soap into the ocean, but it was listed for $5 million.
Okay, let's see if it sells. I mean, do you believe in Edgewater? Like, do you think they're gonna do well over there?
I think there's a lot of projects going on over there, but you know, I really got to take a few more trips over there to realize the full potential of the area, because it's a lot different. You know, it's a different view. It's, you know, different people. It's just a different kind of area, and you know, it's relatively close to the shopping over there at the Miami Design District, right?
Right. Yeah.
Is it directly right over there? But
it's around there. Yeah.
It's around there, and you know, the highway is a little bit different, and all that. You know, I think really the downtown area is still very central to everything.
So Edgewater is right east of Woodwood.
Okay. Yeah, looking at this.
On the water.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the thing is, I like Edgewater, but man, we already have too much. Stop making so more luxury real estate.
That's what I'm saying. They're really focusing on the luxury end over there, from what I've seen, and
it would be really cool though if they made like affordable housing, because Edgewater is literally on the edge.
Yeah.
Of the water.
And there could be some projects.
Imagine they made some nice, more affordable housing over there.
Yeah.
Not super affordable, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Medium. Not ultra luxury, not $6,000 for rents.
Right. Yeah. We'll see, man. I think this neighborhood is going to take on some different challenges, some different demographics. One that I'm kind of interested, kind of scared to see is called the Yotel.
Oh yeah.
Remember we talked about that one?
Yeah.
And
I've been to the one in New York.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of it's a cool concept. You know, they said it was automated, right? You walk in.
You check in like on a laptop basically.
Right.
And it pops out the keys to your room or whatever.
But the real reason why Miami has a hard time with Airbnb is because short-term rentals have a way of kind of breaking up the camaraderie in a neighborhood, because one, you have people going in and out all the time, but those people just don't really care as much about the community or the neighborhood as you do as an owner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they don't care about the common facilities like the pool.
Right. Now it's different because it's in a building, right? So it's the same concept as like a hotel and a residency mixed together. You know what I'm saying? So people own those units, but they also rent them out when they're not there.
I mean, honestly, my opinion on it is, if I'm living in an apartment building, I would not want for them to allow Airbnb.
Right, but if you look at it as in terms of like an investor, you can have your own little hotel going on.
Right, I would. If I was the investor, I would want it.
This past few weeks,
jack up the prices.
It's just, I want to give a quick shout out to Only a Date. I love their Instagram account. If you want to give me a shout, tell me what's up. So these guys, they post videos of all this different stuff that's happening in Miami. So I kind of get to see for the most general portion of what goes on in South Beach, and it's a lot of different stuff.
Miami's getting pretty beat up this spring break.
Very beat up, man. But I mean, you know, I've been here for almost 3 years. I've seen a lot of different stuff happen, but this year was definitely the most damage that's happened to Miami in terms of waste, in terms of physical like damage to like hotels, and I've even seen
Ultra hasn't even happened yet.
Ultra hasn't even happened, and I even saw a lifeguard tower like blew up.
Yeah, I heard about that. You know, I saw something on Liam Dade, not regarding spring break. Thought it was pretty funny though.
Yeah.
Actually, was it only Dade? It happened in Miami-Dade County, but I don't think it was on that page actually. But it was a tenant stabbed his landlord with a machete over a rental dispute.
I think I saw it on like Snapchat or something.
Yeah, but it was true. That was Miami.
Really?
That was Miami. Yeah.
Oh, I saw a picture of it. Yeah, it was like a huge knife.
Yeah, so it's definitely not like the proper way to handle an issue.
That's some Miami stuff. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, the Florida Man Challenge. Yeah, isn't that? Have you seen that?
No, what is that?
Okay, so someone like posted this somewhere, and I saw it, and I was laughing so hard. But people, all you have to do is type in Florida Man and then type in your birthday, and then some crazy article will pop up of like some Florida man doing something just wild, just something outlandish. Yeah. I mean, like there was there was one that I saw where there was like a naked bicyclist riding down I-95 backwards on his bike. No, I don't know about it. I saw so many, but it's mostly like people outside of Florida, because like people inside Florida don't want to hear that because it's just a crazy city.
It was actually crazy. Well, the stuff that happened with the tenant landlord, those were 2 Florida residents. But a lot of the crazy stuff that happens in Dade is not Dade residents.
Yeah.
Like, just whoever's watching this podcast or video around the world, just know that not all Florida residents are wild like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I bet you the people that blew up that lighthouse were not from Miami.
Yeah, or I mean, I don't know if they physically blew up or if it was just like an electrical fire that just happened based off of the lifeguard or just whoever built it. But I mean, I don't know. I just think the city's like, that's part of it though. I was telling someone the other day, I was like, there's 3 things that this city has to offer, or 3 things that Florida really has to offer, and that is the weather, taxes, and opportunity. 3 things: weather, taxes, opportunity. You can't find another state with all 3 of those. Think about it. New York, cold. California, don't have a tax card.
Yeah.
Texas, maybe.
That's what I was thinking.
But opportunity?
No, but it gets cold in Texas though.
Close. It's close to Texas. Taxes, there's no income tax in Texas.
No, I said it gets cold in Texas. I mean, in Texas. It gets cold in Texas in some places.
Okay, yeah. It snows in some parts.
Some parts of Texas, I think it does. That's what someone from Texas is telling me, but it's never happened before, so they're claiming it's climate change, but I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a whole like different political subject.
I'm gonna TM those 3 right there. Taxes, opportunity, you know.
Yeah, that's the only place in the United States you can find that.
It's close enough, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, man, let's move on to our next topic, and me and Julian were going through this past week. Is Facebook has kind of tightened up on their advertising. So I'm reading an article here. It says Facebook revisits housing ad policy as part of the discrimination settlement. So basically, with the Facebook advertising process, you go through, basically you pick and choose where you want to place your ads, what kind of demographic you want to use, or what really you want, what people want to hear about your information. So they have kind of, I guess, stopped with the housing ads. You can't do any more like, this is for sale, or like this is for rent.
Really?
Yeah, even though I just did one the other week, but I mean, I don't know, I think they're just cutting back on it. It might be like by zip code or something, or by country.
I think what happened was when Facebook got in trouble with the SEC regulations and stuff, selling the data, they had to, I guess, tighten up all the regulations.
Well, Google just got busted for some stuff too.
Yeah, well, Google's really been selling that data. It's crazy. Like,
didn't I saw some guy who was like on the stand and he said that they have our location like at all times.
okay.
Isn't that kind of crazy?
That is, but
Even when like you say they like when it asks you can we use your location, you say no, they still like
they still have it. They just don't show you that they have it, basically.
Right. I mean, they sell that to the guy over there. So.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's crazy and not crazy at the same time because there's so many people in the world. They have everyone's location.
Yeah.
So like, why does it really even matter? Like, why are they gonna pick you, choose you?
Honestly, I just got introduced to this whole data sharing thing last semester in 2018. I took an information systems class.
Okay.
That's where I found out where all of these social platforms like Google, Facebook, Twitter, they know everything that we're clicking on, and they sell it to the next guy who's willing to buy it.
Well, from a advertiser's point of view, that's the correct word, right?
Yeah.
From an advertiser's point of view on Facebook, I hate these new regulations because I can't pinpoint someone directly.
Yeah, it's a little bit tough.
As a human, like I want rights.
Right.
It's probably good. But
now there is one platform that we don't really speak about, but we really should talk about it a lot more with advertising. Is LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, LinkedIn's really good.
LinkedIn, I think, is still.
The thing is, LinkedIn wants so much money.
Yeah. It's a little bit higher, calories. It's a lot more direct. It's a lot more direct.
And like it's direct, like
you can literally pull up people's positions that you want to hit.
Their past positions.
Yeah, their
crazy.
all that stuff. So.
Well, that's the point of it. Yeah, like you don't have to like kind of like stalk them or anything. It's like just there, like real estate broker there.
Yeah.
Mortgage guy there. Whatever it is.
It's interesting, but we'll see, man. I think social media and these social platforms are just gonna start changing in the next like 3 to 5 years. I think it's just gonna start getting more and more expensive to advertise and also to join. Like,
so, what do you think overall, not just social media or anything? But what do you think is the best form of marketing or advertisement for someone trying to start off in real estate?
Facebook and Instagram.
Think so?
For sure.
Instagram marketing. I do a lot of Instagram marketing. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, there still is, people say like, oh, TV advertisements. Well, I'm not gonna bring that up. Newspaper advertisements, magazines, articles online. Those are still pretty useful, man. I mean, I've seen a lot of realtors run ad campaigns in the New York Stock Exchange or on Bloomberg or on Forbes.
I heard a really interesting statistic the other day. I'm not sure it's 100% true, but what I was told by the research company
Throw it out there.
Was that the most, I guess you could say, highest return for your investment on advertisement is on the radio.
No way.
That's where you get the most funnel clients. I don't know why. Maybe it's because like they're literally over and over again in your head, like just programmed in there.
Yeah.
And when people like drive home at 5 o'clock with that traffic, and they're just like listening to it every single day, like the same like little song comes up. Maybe it's just like.
Hey, can you imagine those like the rappers or like celebrities that go on there and they say like you're listening to the 105.5. Like those guys get paid to make advertisements. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is.
One day, that'd be dope. That'd be crazy.
They literally say like 3 words.
Yeah.
105.5. How much do you think they even charge for that?
I don't know. I'm sure they just like, someone comes up and gives them a list of everything that they need to say. They just run it out real quick in the studio and that's it. Probably takes like an hour.
Yeah,
they probably do like 15 or 20 of those things.
Because they don't even do long ones, they're short.
Yeah.
I guess it'll cost them more money to do a long one.
Yeah. But it's interesting, man. We'll see. I think there's going to be some sort of new social platform coming out. There always is, but I mean like, another Instagram.
I know, I can't wait for that because like Instagram, it still is very good for marketing stuff, but it's harder to grow now.
Right.
Like you really have to be invested into it. Back a few years ago, it was easier, much easier. So we got to they need to come up with another social media, then we got to become the kings of it from the beginning.
Zuckerberg.
Well,
Take your best shot, man.
Like what would they even do?
Our joke that we have right now is that a couple of our ads have not been approved by Instagram and Facebook. I'm kind of having a hard time with that. But we think that Zuckerberg is the one.
Yeah, he's sitting like in a laptop, Starbucks somewhere.
Now, obviously, it's probably automated, but it goes to someone.
Yeah, it's
like when you go to like a dealer.
Yeah, but Zuckerberg. Yeah, He's on his laptop right now.
Silicon Valley, Los Gatos, California. Just
yeah, he's gonna start listening to Silicon Valley.
Decline. Approve.
But just doing it like we just have been on the other 50% that hasn't worked out. But.
Yeah. It's interesting. We'll see. Okay. But lots of good news today.
I got a question for you actually that someone was asking.
He told me, he was like, I'm gonna run this question to you in the middle of the podcast where I like it.
It's not too much of a touch.
Alright.
Okay. Someone asked me, with the interest rate news yesterday, how will that affect pricing going forward?
Well,
what do you think? Short term and long term.
Short term and long term. Okay, wow. Lots of different theories going on in my head. So, with the interest rate right now, it's still historically low. Definitely. But we are having a little bit of oversupply right now. So I think it could be a benefit, right? Because if you think about it, it's lower cost to lend, but there's also decreasing prices, right? Because there's oversupply. So it could run out in good. It could incentivize more people buying, right? Long term, I think by 2020 it'll go up. I think they're gonna hike it.
Right. No, you think interest rates are gonna hike? I'm talking about pricing.
Oh, pricing.
Oh, you thought I meant pricing of loans. So no. I'm saying, the question I asked was, how will the interest rate staying the same now affect pricing? Will prices go up or down? Long term or short term?
Long term, short term.
Right, like what you were saying.
I think prices will stay where they're at because it's still relatively inexpensive to borrow money.
Right.
Cash is cheap, right? So I think people take that model and attack the market. They're seeing a lot of oversupply across the nation right now. So with that being said, there's just a little bit less demand. But if interest rates are still attractive, then you should be buying property.
Very cheap money at 4% interest.
Yeah, so possibly less. So it's just kind of interesting. Long term, I think the oversupply will catch up to us, or inflation will, or employment, something will slip, and then we'll hike up or hike down. I don't know. So it's just kind of interesting.
I think we're definitely though shifting from a crazy seller's market more to I don't think it's a buyer's market. People keep saying, oh, it's a buyer's market now. That's not true yet.
Yeah.
But I think it's shifting. Before it was like sellers up here. If you're listening to this on the podcast, you can check us out on YouTube to see where my hands are.
Yeah.
Sellers market is up here, and the buyers.
Nice catch.
The buyer's market was down here. You know what I mean? But now it's like coming closer together. Not yet a buyer's market though.
Right.
But definitely think sellers still have the upper hand, but it's kind of medium up. It's getting better to buy now.
Right. I feel it's kind of
clear buyer. But the thing is, you got to take into account, like, there's never a perfect time to buy or sell. People always say
perfect time to buy is now, baby.
Always, because of appreciation and so many people moving into Florida in particular.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. But hopefully that answered your question. You think that's good?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Awesome. Well, we'll see what kind of news we got for the next time we meet.
Definitely.
I like our casual little Saturday we just had.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is out on YouTube by Wednesday. We're gonna have our guy chop it up, edit it. Our boy Renzo Fulci, shout out to him. We haven't shouted him out yet, so we'll give him a quick shout out.
Renzo, he's the man.
Julian, thank you so much for joining me today, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. And this is Real Talk with Chris Rubaie.
Julian Chavez, thanks for tuning in.
Have a good one.